Hey boys and girls, it's Miss Gante, and you already know what time it is. It's time to use our brains and become scientists. What we're going to be learning today is something new. We're moving on from the world of fossils, and now we're going to go more to what we know in the state of Georgia. So today what we're going to be talking about is Georgia's region. So I want us to take a good look of this picture of Georgia that is on the right. And just looking at it, what do you notice? And what do you wonder? Are you familiar with anything that you see on the right? And then looking at our essential question on the left, how do I locate the 5 Georgia regions? So boys and girls, this is what we're going to be focusing on for today. Just locating the 5 Georgia regions and just seeing what else we know. So I want us to look and see our prior knowledge. So prior, let's see what we might already know. So what do you already know about Georgia? Take a moment to think about that. If you have your science journal, go ahead and take it out and maybe pause the video to write some things down. It doesn't have to be a complete sentence, just jot some things down. What do you already know about Georgia? And then looking at that second question, what do you already know about regions in Georgia? So what do you already know? And it's okay if right now nothing is coming to mind. At any time you can pause or stop the video and just write down your thoughts. So now let's get into what we're going to talk about today, which are the 5 regions of Georgia. All right, boys and girls. So the first one that I'm going to start with is going to be on this upper left hand corner, and it is called the Appalachian Plateau. The location of the Appalachian Plateau is northwest Georgia, so its tag, which is the corner of Tennessee, Alabama, and Georgia borders. So right here, it's going to be at the corner. That's how we're able to remember it. It's going to be right here at the corner. And just remember the acronym TAG. So then let's talk about some physical characteristics. It is flat or gently sloping land sitting above surrounding valleys. The climate is cooler temperatures due to high elevation. And then for agriculture, it is limited due to poor soil. Some corn and soybeans are grown in this region. So the next region that we're going to go to is going to be one that we're all going to be quite familiar with. And it is the Ridge and Valley region. So that is going to be right here in the purple. Now, before we move on, what do you notice about the Ridge and Valley region? Take a moment to think about this. What do you notice? Look at the picture. Now, boys and girls, that light bulb should be going off if you're thinking, hey, I think that the Ridge and Valley is where Dalton is. Boys and girls, you are correct. So let's look at the Ridge and Valley region. So the location is North Georgia, and it lies between the Appalachian Plateau and the Blue Ridge regions. Its physical characteristics are that it's long, parallel ridges separated by wide, fertile valleys. Its climate is similar to the Appalachian Plateau, and we have cooler temps due to higher elevation. For agriculture, 4% of the valleys are used for farming and pastures. Crops that we have are corn, soybeans, wheat, and cotton. Hardwood and pine timber are harvested as well. And you guys are going to really love this next slide. So the Ridge and Valley region. So economic contributions. So economic contributions is just a fancy way to say, what do we offer? So what are we offering? Textiles and carpets and mining. And just an interesting feature, Dalton, Georgia is the carpet capital of the world, and numerous caves. So we have numerous caves in the Ridge and Valley region. But boys and girls, I just want you to think of the impact that Dalton, Georgia has on the rest of the world. This is talking about the world, all 7 continents, over 100 countries. Dalton, Georgia is on the map for being a carpet capital. So just think about that. The next region that we're going to be talking about is the Blue Ridge region. So that's over here in the red on the upper right corner of Georgia. So the Blue Ridge region is in the northeast corner of Georgia. Its physical characteristics, so it has the Blue Ridge Mountains, Brasstown Bald, which is Georgia's highest peak, the Appalachian Trail, which is Springer Mountain, and the name comes from the blue haze that surrounds the mountains. And in the next slide, we're going to see what the blue haze looks like. Its climate, it's cooler weather in the summer and winter months. Its highest rainfall, many rivers begin here, the Chattahoochee and Savannah rivers. And for agriculture, small farms, so we have apples, corn, and vegetables, and pastures to large animals. So here in this next slide is where you're going to see that blue haze. So here we can see that blue haze coming up that mountain. So economic contributions, we have mining, gold mining, and that's going to be in Dahlonega. We have timber, and interesting features. We have Brasstown Bald, which we said was the highest peak in Georgia. It begins the Appalachian Trail. Dahlonega is also located in this region, and it's the first gold rush in the U.S. All right, moving down. The next region that we're going to look at is the Piedmont region. So the Piedmont region is going to be right here. It's located in this dark green, and if you notice, it is a rather large area. And here we have this beautiful skyline. What city do we think this is? Do you know already what city this is? So the Piedmont region. So looking at its location facts, the central part of the state, 30% of the land in Georgia, so that's a big percentage of Georgia. And then the fall line separates Piedmont from the coastal plain. Some physical characteristics: gently rolling hills, major rivers, and red clay. For its climate, steamy and hot in the summers, and the occasional snow in the winters. For agriculture, lots of agriculture. Cotton, soybeans, and wheat. We have poultry, eggs, hogs, and cattle and beef that are all raised in the Piedmont region. So we have economic contributions. We have timber. So it's highly industrialized, and industrialized just means that we use a lot of machinery. So aircrafts and automobile manufacturing and poultry processing. So we have all these plants, so making aircrafts, having those automobiles, so cars or trucks. And then we have agriculture, in which we are also growing vegetables and resources that we need in Georgia. And here we have our farmer that is using his tractor. And then interesting features, it is the second largest region, and some urban cities are Atlanta, Columbus, and Macon. And in the slide, 2 slides before that big picture of that beautiful skyline, that was a picture of Atlanta. So the next region we're going to talk about is right down here. It is the largest region that you see, and it is called the Coastal Plains. So notice there is still the picture of Atlanta that we saw before. I want you to think about why that is. So Coastal Plain is the southernmost region in the state. Some physical characteristics: 60% of the state, 2 inner regions, so there's the upper and the lower. We have the Okefenokee Swamp, major rivers, and it has a coastline. For the climate, hot, steamy summers and cool winters. Snowfall and ice is less likely to occur in this region. As for agriculture, we have fertile soil, peanuts, peaches, soybeans, cotton, Vidalia onions, and pecans. We have sandy soil in the lower coastal plains, and this area is also known for its growth of pine trees. So some economic contributions are pulp and paper industry. We have commercial fishing and seafood processing, tourism, recreation in barrier islands and coastal towns, and we have deep water ports. So over here we're looking at our port and our docks, and then we have tourism. So a lot of people not from Georgia or maybe even locals of Georgia go to the different areas in the coastal plains to visit. And interesting features, the barrier islands are protected from hurricanes, and that there have been tornadoes in recent years in the coastal plains. So now, boys and girls, we've reviewed 5 of Georgia's regions. So I want you to go back and test your knowledge. Think about one fact for each region. I want you to look at the Piedmont and think, what did we learn about the Piedmont? Go to the Ridge and Valley, Valley and Ridge. What did we learn there? Well, I know that Dalton, Georgia, where we live, where we're going to school, that's that region. Then we have the Appalachian Plateau, and we've talked about the Appalachian Mountains in social studies. We have the Blue Ridge Mountains. That's where the highest peak of Georgia is. And then we've talked about the coastal plain. So that's 60% of Georgia's region is in the coastal plain. So now I want you to try it and go back and review and see if you can think of other facts. So after you've done that in your science journal, I want you to ask yourself, how do I locate the 5 Georgia regions? So here we have our map, and I want you to think about how you can locate them. In the next video, we're going to be talking more about the regions and about habitats. So I'll see you on the next one.